Panatir, Salawek Sonis in Panatir, Auduama, Keti Paeru. Amasun Panatir, Salawek Sonis in Panatir, Auduama, Keti Paeru. Amasun Panatir, Salawek Sonis Panatir, Auduama, Keti Paeru. Amasun Panatir, Salawek Sonis Panatir, Auduama, Keti Paeru. Auaman, Anjakaman, Auamin Ra, Anjakamin Ra. Amin Kemper her Abuja F. Wutu Bedu Kepa Netaru. Atuari Ramech. Tinkin Sanu Alion Sanu. Wepa Nuwa Ursinef. Sejum Semekin Lintium Betanu. Amba Kep Nesnef. Nekum Sentit Ni Sekama. Wapi Ma'ar Hino Su. Neterulim Kesulanek. Her Sekal Vayu Kimam Sekal in Kesefu no Tensinu. Jensenek Imatep. Yit Yatuna Turnabu. Oxpector Satu. Identity Kimam Unenet. Amin Ketu Nebet. Atmu Herakuti. Yuhu no Jetsanu Yuhu. Eronekin Aminu. Sininek Ta Em Kimam Ekin. Unrecken Opnebet. Hemnekin Setnebet. Bet. Second Ta. Root what you were. Kinkin F. Ahupatu. F. Momentu. Auaman. Auamin Ra. Auaman. Auamin Ra. Amin Ra Nemaat. Amin Kef Nebru. Keper her Abuja F. Utumedu Kepa Netru. Atwani Remech. Tinken Sanu Adi Sanu. Wepa Nuwa Ursinef. Sejum Sedemek Indian Betanu. Amab Kef Nesnef. Nekum Sentit Ni Sekum Ab. Wapi Ma'ar Hino Usu. Neteruim Kesuanek. Her Sekal Bayu Kimam Sekal in Kesafu Noatetsunu. Jetsenek Iamatep. Yit Yatuna Turnabu. Oxpector Satu. Adienti Kimam Unenet. Amin Kesu Nebet. Atmu Herokuti. Iyuhu no Jetsanu Yuhu. Erunekin Aminu. Sininek Ta Em Kimam Ekin. Unrecken Opnebet. Hemnekin Setnebet. Kauin Pet. Second Ta. Madut what you were. Kinkin Nefa Upatu. I need a moment. Auaman. Auamin Ra. Ra. Amen Ra.
Amen Ra.
Amen Ra Nemaat. Amen Kelef Neb Neturu. Keper Abu Jelef. Utu Menu Kepa Neturu. Atwa Yunamesh. Tenken Sunu Audion Sunu. Wepa Nuwa Ursinef. Sejum Sunamekin Intium Betanu. Amma Kefnes Nef. Nekum Santi Mi Sakama. Wabi Mahar Hinosu. Neteruim Kesuanek. Sekau Bayu Kimam Set Howling Kesafunu Tetsunu. Jetsaneki Matep. Yit Yatuna Turnabu. Oxpeter Satu. Ayenti Kimam Unet. Amen Kesu Nebet. Absmu Herakuti. Iyuhu Nun Jetsanu Yuhu. Inuneke Aminu. Sinek Time Kimam Eken. Anjarekin Nebet. Inunekin Set Nebet. Kauin Pet. Second Ta. Madut what you were. Kinkin Abu Patu. Aina Momentu. Amon.
Amen
Amen Ra.
Amen Ra.
Amon. Amen Ra.
Amen Ra.
Amen Ra Nemaat. Amen Kef Neteru. Keper Abu Jaf. Utu Medu Kepa Neteru. Atwa Yunamesh. Tenken Sanu Audion Sanu. Wepa Nuwa Ursinef. Sejum Sunamekin Intium Betanu. Amma Kefnes Nef. Nekum Santi Mi Sakama. Wabi Ma'ar Hinobusu. Neteruim Kesuanek. Sekau Bayu Kimam Set Howling Kesafu Nuatetsanu. Jetsanek Iamatep. Yit Yatuna Turnabu. Oxpeter Satu. Ayenti Kimam Unanet. Amen Kesu Bet. Absmu Harakuti. Yuhu Nujatsanu Yuhu. Enuneken Aminu. Sinek Time Kimam Eken. Anjarekin Nebet. Enuneken Set Nebet. Kauin Pet. Second Ta. Madut what you were. Kinkin Abu Patu. Anina Momentu. Amon. Amen Ra.
Amen Ra.
Amon. Amen Ra.
Amen Ra.
We're trying to make sure the energy is picked up and high as we go into our amazing, incredible holiday season. We have so many, all the words, I'm trying to say all the words at one time. We have so many amazing and awesome and spectacular and fun events that are coming up. We just need to make sure that the energy stays high, that we stay motivated, that we stay divinely connected and divinely inspired. So y'all ready to celebrate with me this morning? We're having great to celebrate with me. What about the rest of the undergraduates? Y'all ready to celebrate this morning? All right, let's get it, y'all. Yahweh, Yahweh, in that touch, what to? brought some of that raw sun and that raw power into this space, which is what we need. Okay, so let's just talk about the month of June. It's a very busy month. As I mentioned, we have entered into one of our major holiday seasons. So I want to just start by acknowledging that as it is a holiday season, what we do at every holiday season is we make efforts to give back to the community. And so the different groups that have gathered to deal with the energy of their tech bread from last year's Leper Pets are responsible for each organizing something specific that can be done to enhance the community, not just the people in this room. It's really meant for the greater community outside of our walls, okay? So historically we've had food drives, clothing drives, we've done blessing bags with shampoo and toothpaste and things like that for people who needed toiletries. We've done drives to collect feminine products for women in shelters, diapers, socks and scarves for people in shelter for over the winter. These are all the different types of things that the different groups have organized and have done in order to give back to the community. So I want to just make sure that we're all thinking about what it is that we're going to do during this time, because it is time for us to give again. And I think it's just really important. It's so key for us to make sure that we never feel like what we have is not enough, or that we feel afraid of giving, because those of us who understand understand that the principle of reciprocity is so key to our understanding and our practice of Ma'at. And when we give, we get, and when we get, we're meant to give. And the universe is so full of plenty. And it's our responsibility to sow seeds of good feelings, and warmth wherever we go. And so for those people in the world who are afraid because they don't have, and whose situations may be more tenuous and more frightening than our own, we have a responsibility to remind them that the universe is good, the universe is plenty, and that there is support and love out there for them. So we do what we can on that front by giving. Because even if we're struggling, we're still in a position to give something. Those of us in this room, for sure, I'm looking at y'all, y'all are beautiful, y'all got something there. On the fancy jewelry and stuff. Okay, all right. Next weekend is our field trip weekend. So Saturday, we will be traveling to Coney Island to honor, I believe it's the 30th annual tribute to the ancestors in the Middle Passage, which is sponsored by the People of the Sun Collective and Medgar Evers College. And just like it sounds, it is a tribute to those ancestors of ours, both through our lineage and those who are connected to us energetically, spiritually, culturally, who did not survive and who never made it to the shores of any land here in the West. They were kidnapped, they were stolen, they were taken, and they perished, they lost their lives during that heinous transition. We honor their sacrifice. Some of them gave sacrifice willingly, choosing to die rather than to be enslaved. Some of them lost their lives unwillingly. And we honor both sacrifices, all sacrifices that were made, because all that energy, we want those energies to be at peace. We want our ancestors to be at peace. And we want to just demonstrate gratitude to them so that they can rest, because the sacrifices that they made, everything that happens, it feeds us. It helps us to be who we are. It helps us to know where we come from. And it's so key to know our history, lest, we be doomed to repeat it. So,
Saturday? Y'all can, you're gonna be there.
we're going to meet at the Judy Ross house in East Orange. That's all right, because we just going to park there.
Two.
Okay. All right, we're going to meet at the Judy Ross house in East Orange. It's not in East Orange? In Orange. I know where it is. Like, I know where the actual house is. I don't know the address. All right. Those of us who are carpooling from New Jersey, we're going to just meet at his house so that anybody who needs to leave their car can do so there. Anyone who doesn't have a car can just meet there and jump in someone's car, okay? Those of you who are not traveling from New Jersey, who are traveling from any part of New York City, Connecticut, someplace else, and you want to just meet us at Coney Island, we'll just meet there on the boardwalk. Probably the best place to go for the exact location on the boardwalk is on Facebook. The People of the Sun have an event for the tribute to the ancestors with all the information there. So just meet us there on the boardwalk about between 11:45 and 12 noon. You'll also want to bring white carnations. You'll want to bring pennies and a jar of molasses, okay? We'll say that again. White carnations, pennies, 7 pennies specifically, and a jar of molasses, okay? And wear all white for a tribute to the ancestors. It's an all white event on Saturday. I'm going to email this information out as well, but I just want to share with those of us who are in the room, all right? No, I'm talking to you. Okay. What? Never mind. Okay. Sunday is a due day. We're going to travel down to Philly. We're going to meet at Mecatura's house as usual. We always meet at her house, but I still was like, oh, I should just give her a heads up about to say that out loud. Okay, we're going to meet at Mecatura's house as usual in Plainfield, New Jersey. We're going to meet at 9 a.m. We're going to meet at Majudi's at 10 a.m. On Saturday, we're going to meet at Mecatura's at 9 a.m. Please be sharp, because if you're late, you will get left. Okay, so we're going to meet there at 9 a.m. We're going to travel down to Philadelphia for the Adun Day Festival. Now, our intention for Adun Day is to make it in time for the procession, because that is the portion of the event where the offerings are made to the Orisha Oshun. There is a procession that travels down to the waterfront, and we want to make sure that we're there for the spiritual part of the festival, not just the shopping part of the festival, okay? So that's why it's so important to be timely, because we do need to get to Philly, find parking, and make our way over to the meeting spot before the procession begins at noon. Day on Sunday, please bring 5 oranges or 5.
Community will start saying that ancient Kemetic women are property. What's the next step? Would this enable some of the men outside of the Kemetic community to come in and start disrespecting our women? So that means the men can't have that. And our women should not have to be in front defending themselves. So it took a turn, and it is Hemet Chaki. Of course, he doesn't know the transliterations, so he misinterpreted as empty. Don't know how he got that, but it's 2 terms. But he interpreted as women belonging to man, as if women are property. So my suggestion to him is, no, that is what y'all do. In African context, we don't look at our women as property. Our women have agency. Our women are equal to us. Our women make their own decisions. And you will learn that if you read the text. It all goes back to understanding the culture and the language. So since our brother is judging the Kemetic language by terms of the Hebrew culture, he's now misinterpreting. Now, of course, he can't be the only one. We have others that are doing this. So in various conversations, some of my colleagues and myself decided to educate the brother, but make sure that it was on tape so people can see that, this is not the right way. So in that conversation, had to discuss the grammatical form of the term Hemet Cha'i. So Hemet, we know, is a word meaning what? Woman or wife. But the word hem or Hemet also is a term meaning servant, but servant in a sense of caretaking. So we know that the feminine principle is about nurturing, caretaking. So that's the context of a Hemet. Not I'm your servant, like I bow down to you, do your bidding kind of thing. It's caretaking. In fact, we're even suggesting that we might even retranslate the term instead of servant, maybe caretaker. Someone who manages things, someone who has agency. And then child is a word meaning man. So you would never say my son, but my in the sense of property. Does anybody think that like my mother is my property because they say mine? No, not at all. So Hemet Cha'i, woman in relation to man. Is just simply a word for wife. That's it. Not a woman who's property. So if we go to the text, Patawatep, number 20. And I'm going to read this one. I went through several of them with them, but when you are accomplished and established your house. Now this is Patawatep speaking to his son. So he's having the man talk. All right. You should love your wife with passion. So, it's different from the Hebraic culture where they separate their women. And in fact, I've heard that when they copulate, that they have like a sheet between them or something like that. Okay, it's kind of foreign to us. So, but here is very opposite. Love your wife with passion. Fill her belly, clothe her back. Ointment is a prescription for her limbs. So in other words, provide for her. Give her things, fill her belly, make sure you're providing food. Clothe her back, make sure she has clothes. Make sure she has provisions. Ointment is the prescription for her limbs. So, you know, sisters, y'all like oils and perfumes and things like that. So this is the 5th dynasty. This is way in ancient Kemet here. Make her happy as long as you exist. It doesn't say anything about, you know, make sure she does your bidding. She is a useful field for her net. Now, of course, it's translated as Lord, but now Dr. Kelly Alma gives us some context to this net term, because we don't translate it as Lord. It's more so like a guardian, a protector, someone who's managing an estate. So if you have a house, you manage your estate. So if you have a henna, a wife, she should be able to bring something to the table, and vice versa. What do you bring to the table? All right. And you should not adjudicate her. In other words, you should never pass judgment on her. So you never, ever, ever make your woman feel loved, ever. Then it goes on. The wife says, this is where misinterpretations come in. It says, keep her away from control of her foot. Her eye, when it looks, is her strong wing. You're restricting her as a way to keep her in your house. So now, this is where the guy thinks that it's property. So you know how, you know, we have like either you got like a woman code or a man code. If you're providing for your spouse, then you say, you know, keep her in the house or keep him in the house. Not in the sense of servant, meaning you're providing everything that person needs, so you don't need to go outside of the house to get it. So that's the context of that. Now, of course, he tried to make the argument, but the next line answers the question even better. It says, the vulva, y'all know what that means, she gives at her disposal is water. So in other words, when when y'all enjoy each other, it is her choice, not she's my property, therefore she does my bidding. Because it says she gives at her disposal. The next line says, since it is requested. Okay? So he's telling his son, you have to ask her permission. You can't just take her and then make for it a basin. So in other words, you have to provide a safe space. You know, a basin is like a natural kind of container, like in the ground, etc., of water. Because you know, water is precious, it's life-giving. That's why it says, the vulva she gives at her disposal is water, meaning it's life-giving. So right there, and then that's the old kingdom, and then the new kingdom, the instructions of Ani said, do not control your wife in her house, but her house. Meaning, women also have property. So you might go into her home. When you know she's efficient, don't say to her, where is it, or get it. In other words, don't boss her around. And this is the new kingdom. So now, this demonstrates that women are not property in Kemet, that women have agency, and you even have goddesses in Kemet, you have Nebet in Kemet, women who we might say lordess, if you will, but they are managers of whole estates. They're heads of organizations. That's what a Nebet is, as in Nebuchadnezzar. So these are some of the things that you can take with you, some of the things that you can think about. You can even go to see it. It should be in there as well. So if you hear these things, understand that they are false, and we have plenty of evidence to demonstrate that women, you have agency. And it's in the alphabet, and it's in the text. And if you need help, I'll give you the sources and that you can use for yourself. You're welcome.
Come on. Just want some joy. Yesterday, me and Saur had a show at Essex County. And also I'm having a show at Essex County again this Saturday.
You're a superstar now. All these shows.
too big for us.
And I auditioned for Saving a Glover project with J Pack, and I got picked.
Do I not say?
Why not
Mic drop.
Right.
Just don't drop the mic. Don't drop it.
Don't
though.
actually drop it. Put it on the podium, baby.
Guess I'll say throughout that before. First of all, Watapu Meru Ikuma'u, Hanepa and Hamat it is to be in your countenance this Heru Ra. True indeed. A lot of joys and some concerns. So, you know, this season has been one that has picked up and has gone fast. I'm so proud of this young brother and our young sister. They did an amazing job yesterday. I had a chance to see it. They're growing fast, and you know it's important to have a platform for our youth to express themselves, but not only express themselves artistically, but express themselves culturally, and to see how they're manifesting that which is being taught. It's just like our heart filled with pride. On a solemn note, I want to say that our brother, first, before I go there, I just want to say that our Kids Day was totally awesome. We had a great time. All the family came out, played, and we had some raw shine up until about 6 noon, and then Tef Nuke decided to join the party. So we had to shut it down a little earlier than we wanted to, but we had a great time.
6 noon.
Oh, 6 noon? My bad. 6 p.m. We were supposed to start at 12 noon. We started a little late, but we got it in. We had some good fun. We was about to get the spades game rolling until Tef Nuke shut it down. I was about to get my spade smack on. They got lucky. So we're gonna see them for the next one. I just want us to send some positive energy to 2 of our brothers. Ranu, we talked about Resurrect Orchestra. He was hospitalized, I believe, a couple of days ago, and he's recovering with a heart condition. So, you know, Ranu keeps it cool, and he doesn't say much, but I want us to keep him in thought and prayer and to send energy to him. Yeah, we can stand. And as we chant visualize a powerful green healing energy of light going towards Brother Ranu. You can picture him in your mind, and we'll send it out to him on the count of 3.
Can everybody stand with their left foot forward and hands in Ba'at posture?
1, 2, 3.
Uncle Johnson.
Ranu. Stay standing for a second. Do I? So yeah, last thing with Ahadu, he got accepted to play in Savion Glover, the tap dance kid is what he's redoing. He did the audition. So I just wanted to share this part. He was asked to read for the main character, which is Willie. So on the 17th, we'll see if he gets it. But he's in it, so he's somebody. So if he's Willie, man, that's awesome. Like, I can't even believe it. So now, give him some energy. Hopefully, he gets it. We'll see. We'll let you know. Do I? Shalom Tell. Got it all blocked off. Can't even get up.
Two things. One, first is a joy for Saora. She performed 6 numbers yesterday. I'm so proud of her. The whole school did an amazing job, but I was a proud mama yesterday. The second thing is a major concern. As you know, Mentu is not here. His mother, my mother-in-law, was in the supermarket this morning and fainted. They called the paramedics. Thank goodness they came on time, gave her high blood pressure medication to stabilize her. She was rushed to the hospital. They're running tests to see if it's a heart attack. Hopefully it's not. So I would just want to send some positive healing energy to Mom.
Can everybody, those of you who do not know who Mentu Mother is, you all want to direct the green energy to Kumari, and then Kumari will send it up to Mentu's mom, okay? If you know his mother, picture her in your mind and send it directly to her yourself, okay? Dear new Uncle Justin.
Just thought I'd share joy. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bonham, and it's a pleasure to meet you all. I just thought I'd share with you, I work for the DOC, Department of Correction in New York City, and I work as a counselor, correctional counselor. I assist inmates with services in the community, and I just got my employee appraisal, and I got outstanding in every area, so I'm just very elated. Do I need to?
You are not good.
Akama'at. I wasn't going to come up, but people told me I should come up and talk about Alaska. It was a really dope trip. Most people, when I told them before, like, I'm going to Alaska for your birthday, they were like, all right, including Kisa. But it just became one of those places on my list of, like, I need to go because it's just so beautiful. And I did a lot of reading on it, and I was like, I want to go. So I went for my 40th birthday. I went by myself. It was fine though. Somebody said, oh, like they said. Oh, I'm like, it's all good. I could travel on my own. I've done it before. But it was great. There were no issues. A lot of people were concerned about me going by myself because I think when people think of Alaska, they're like, it's nothing but bears and snow and this and that. And it actually wasn't too cold. It was like 60 degrees. So that's actually nice for Alaska weather. was nice because there was a lot of sunlight. So if you go now, it doesn't get completely dark. Even at 11:30 at night, it was still a lot of sunlight outside. So it was bizarre, but it was cool. And I guess the thing that I really got out of the trip, it just made me feel strong. Not that I feel weak, but I did it by myself. I drove up to Denali and saw the tallest mountain in North America on my own, and I was safe and I was fine. I felt very protected by the Neturu. I never felt afraid and worried about my journey on my own. I stayed in a cabin in the middle of the woods by myself. So I got a chance to do a lot of stuff that I wanted to do, and I didn't think that I'd do it, and I was safe and I felt fine the whole time. And it was just a great way to bring in my 40th birthday. So I think that's it. Y'all should go. It's not a lot of black people, but it's all good. Because anywhere I go, even when I know it's not going to be a lot of black people, I feel like I'm going to bring my energy. And people are typically attracted to it. They're like, oh, I want your melanin type of thing. You know what I mean? The white folks, they kind of give you that look like, you know. But anyway, so I guess I'm done. Thank you. Dua. Justin?
Judy must.
Judy must. I'm going to be calling people out. Call them up here.
I really wasn't planning on coming up here today. It was at me earlier, but then my sister said my name, so I don't know what to say except that I'm a writer. I've been writing bars. Yeah. No big. My name is Justin. I feel brand new. I came all the way to Harlem to come to the Temple of Banu. Shout out to Sanku Hemnetta, great leader. Making me a believer. Got the fresh locks on by a Buddha College. Now I gotta find a lady or tell them what I'm interested in that I like her. All right, that's it. That's all I gotta say. I'm a freestyle. Thank you. I'll take that. No, I really wasn't prepared to say anything. Like I was like, I'm gonna sit back, but that's all I gotta say. Thank you, and shout out to my aunt for going to Alaska because I was one of the people like, yeah, it's cold, so have fun. But you look real good for 40. That's all I'm gonna say.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. This is what 43 looks like. I remember when the lecture in a setting and all my brothers was reaching for me, Dad, you're 40, what? Yeah, I'm 40 something. Looking at the gray hair. One. Right here. It is Gemini season. Okay, where's the love? It's Gemini season. No love? You like me? I guess. Well, like it or not, it is Gemini season. We are in a Gemini sun. The brother, Majudi Rai, was throwing shade this morning. He said, yeah, somebody's like, oh, it must be Gemini season because the weather acting two-faced. I'm like, we trying to set up the altars and the brother throwing shade. I'm like, I don't like this energy. I need to clear this energy before I finish this altar. But not only are we in a Gemini sun, tomorrow we have a new moon, which is also in Gemini. So it is for real, Gemini season, double dose of Gemini. The brother here was talking earlier about the young folks and their being able to communicate, being able to establish who they are, establish their voice, use their voice. And so as we think about this sun, this moon, And Gemini is all about communication. It's about learning, it's about travel, it's about those things that allow you to take in information, to assimilate that information, and to utilize that information. And so this is the key to manifesting this energy currently. Last time we ended with talking about barriers to transformation, right? And how you may be unintentionally getting in the way of your own progress, unintentionally getting in the way of your own transformation, and what are the barriers to that, and what is the self-work that you need to do? And so the blessing is that in the study of astrology and understanding astronomy and looking at the stars and understanding the correspondence to ourselves, there is always a roadmap. Nature never leaves us without any answers or without a pathway to help us be inspired, to help us get what we need in order to move forward. And so the key is to look at what is actually happening right now to give us a sense of how to move forward. In this particular case, we're looking at the Gemini energy, right? And so the key right now to transformation is through communication, is through intellect. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, right? And so this is all about thinking, about intellect. And so this is the time now to utilize the energy, especially tomorrow, to figure out what sort of divine inspiration that you're getting, right? Now, it is square Neptune, and Neptune is all about intuition. Neptune is more about spirituality, dreams, intuition. And so the lesson here, when you have a square, right, it is an angle, and it's telling us that there's a lesson in that. So we need to find balance with the intellect, with intuition. And so we run a risk of getting a lot of information. We've heard Nasid talk about this often. Having a lot of information and not actually doing anything with that information, right? Getting a lot of information, reading a lot of books, but not necessarily seeing our lives shift in any real or practical way. So that's the lesson, that's the risk when we lean too much into information, when we lean too much in just the sort of greedy acquisition of information without the hard work of application of that into our lives. So the lesson here is, yes, there's an opportunity now to seek transformation through intellect, to seek transformation through the information, to seek transformation through our communication. But you need to temper that with your practice, with the readings you get, with your meditation, with your intuition, and using that as guidance to help you understand how to properly interpret the messages that you're getting, how to properly interpret and utilize the information that you're getting, because without it, it is just empty information. The one thing that I'll leave you with is that the new moon is square Neptune, and both Neptune and the new moon are square Jupiter. That's called a T-square. Right, and Jupiter is all about higher ideals. Jupiter is about expansion. Jupiter is about abundance. And when these things are opposite, we have to be careful that the things that we're doing are not inadvertently limiting our ability for expansion, limiting the ability for abundance, right? And so the message that I get from this is really, and that balancing the information that you're getting, not only balancing in terms of how it is you're utilizing spiritual guidance, but ensuring that you're being careful about how these ways may be limited with your forward movement in terms of goals that you're setting, things that you're trying to do. And that's it. I'll end with I saw a quote that I was really interested in. It talked about when the universe drops ideas, it does so hoping that somebody will pick it up and then do something with it to actualize it. This is a time when you can actually be inspired. This is a time when you can get messages to truly move you forward with those dreams, those goals that you've had. So take the time to listen. All right, go ahead.
in my
Go forth and live in truth.
Seshet in my Heru.
Embrace the light of your highest reality.
Masuk Billy Boy said crew captain, warrior, tell, priest, tell, healer, tell, divine reader, tell, king, tell. What's Jadak in my heart.
Speak firmly of truth.
Jadak in the terror of my heart.
Speak divine truth.
Jadak in the terror of my heart.
Speak the truth of the Neteru.
Jadak in the memetu my heart.
Speak the ancestors' truth.
Jadak first.
Speak well.
Senan Jordan, fear nothing. Everybody please rise and give energy to the symphony. Rise, stand, crew captain. In the death.
Amatu in Panatir. Sawek Tuament in Panatir. Audwalma. Ketipa Heru. The translation is thus.
Give yourself to God daily. Keep yourself for God daily. And make tomorrow be as today.
We give homage to the Creator, who is like our Father, and who is like our Mother, who is everything that we can perceive, and everything that we cannot perceive, who is everything, yet is no thing, who comes to us in the form of the Neteru Ra, who is the light of the heavens, light of the inner planes, as well as the light of our lives, who shines the light for us on the path of Ma'ati, which is the path of truth, justice, righteousness, and harmonious balance, who comes to us in the form of the light of vitality, giving us the strength and the endurance to live and act upon that which we know to be true. Homage to you, the one who shines in and through us as a beacon of light for those who are blind to the facts of their place, their position, and their responsibility in the divine scheme of things. May we be Ma'akiru, true of thought, word, and deed, to our highest reality. And in our moments of crises and the dark nights of the soul, when it appears that everyone and everything else has let us down, so it is and so shall it be. Amen Ma'at. Ma'akiru. 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 MC, do it. Iyanaway. Got your energy up. That was sounding shaky early. We had like 5 people in the room. But I think we need to show some gratitude to our session Zoo, Sinjeti, Rob. He got up here and taught a basic lesson in mental nectar. A lot of times y'all be thinking that's complicated stuff. Anytime he comes up here and speaks about mental nectar, that's actually the basics. So he wouldn't get up here to come to speak over your head. That was a very pertinent message that he spoke about, because it's a conversation, it's a dialogue that's going on in our community. In our community, there's almost an onslaught against Kemetic practitioners about our authenticity as practitioners of people claiming to walk life. And language is said to be the DNA of culture. It ain't about how you dress and how nice your locks are and you eating a vegetarian lifestyle. It's gonna come down, you can't avoid that language. The brother who he was speaking about is very astute in his culture, is the Hebrew brother. Very sharp in his culture, and best believe that brother knows the Hebrew language. So if you're Kemetic and you've been Kemetic over 5 years, 10 years, you're supposed to know your language also. That doesn't make sense for a person on the outside from another culture seeking to have a dialogue with someone in a Kemetic culture about their language, and you can't hold your own. Nobody said you had to be a master of it, but you have to be competent. And what's the Kemetic word for competent? Akar. So it means being more than competent in English. And what does it mean? Excellent. It means be equipped. You have to be equipped to have a basic dialogue about the fundamentals of your language, because he was correcting the brother on just fundamental stuff of the language. Because the brother's kind of self-taught and he's starting to seek instruction. So what does it say if that brother knows his language yet you don't know yours? What does it say about you? You people over 5 years in the culture. It doesn't matter over 5 years anymore because we have, so it should be a matter of months. So within a year, you should be on your trajectory, on your path to being a competent metal network speaker. So we don't be uncomfortable out there, so we ain't making the culture look bad. Do us and Jenny with a check on the brother. And y'all thank me for checking y'all. All right, so we have to now have a perspective talk. We have to have our seasonal talk because in a couple weeks, it's 2 weeks, the summer solstice is coming, right?
3 weeks.
So
3 weeks.
3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 whole weeks. The summer solstice is coming. So it's time to get the energy keyed up, not calming down. Keyed up, the Ankh is the key, the Ankh is the life. So we're talking about getting your life force up for the summer solstice. I'm seeing, just how light the communions have been. And this has been something that we've been dealing with for a while. We have to keep the energy up. We have to keep the energy. K-I-M, Kim. So now, spiritually, the most important time for the Western Hemisphere is from March 22nd to June 21st. When the sun is most beneficial for us as melanated folks. So now, we are the temple of Anu. Our patron deity is who? Ra. Who's the patron mother? She's at B. Our patron mother deity is her. And our patron ancestral deified ancestor is Imhotep. Just so y'all didn't know, I never really went over that before, but now we're going over it now. So we need to be clear of the forces and the energies that govern us as a temple so you can walk in that power, not guess into your power. So now, we are committed and we're dedicated to cultivating that inner Ra. You understand? So I'm gonna make a comparison to the Christianity. Ra for us is the Holy Spirit. I'll repeat, Ra for us in the Kemetic culture is the Holy Spirit. What is the meaning of holy? Nobody?
Complete.
Whole,
Sacred, unadulterated.
unadulterated, pure. Okay, in indigenous cultures over here in America, they said the word, they call it holy because they said there's no circles found in nature. So when you come across a crystal orb or round rock, they said that's holy because it represents something whole. Everything you all just said. So now Merriam-Webster's dictionary, it says holy is exalted or worthy of complete devotion as one perfect in goodness and righteousness. I repeat, exalted or worthy of complete devotion as one perfect in goodness and righteousness. So the main symbol for Ra is what?
The sun.
The sun. Some people say it's, what is this?
Falcon.
You said a dove? The falcon, but the falcon has the sun disk, so both go hand in hand. So the sun disk and metal netta is what? How do you say sun disk and metal netta? Scribe is cheap. It's on the rusty out. What is it? A10. That is, there's no disk of the sun, but that's how we refer to it. A10 is the disk of the sun. So it represents Ra in all his power to activate and energize things. We don't have enough. Usually the symbol for A10 is the sun disk with sun rays extended from it with Ankhs, terminating in Ankh, saying that this is the force responsible for all life on earth. So now, spirit. What does the word spirit mean? It's an essence.
Non-energy matter.
Ka. Non-energy matter. All of this is correct, but according to the dictionary, spirit means breath, to breathe. But it's still the same thing. The breath moves things. Things with breath animates things. Even if the thing doesn't move, it's moving energies inside of the inanimate object. So Ra equals the energy / consciousness responsible for maintaining life. So we have a Hesi, Neter Ra, Neter Nebin Ta. That means Neter Ra, the master, what he said, the owner of all life on earth. How did that beat go again? He ain't ready, he got his books. You gotta be ready, you gotta be quicker than that. Y'all don't know it? How y'all say it? No, I was saying come up on the volume. So now we're talking about Ra, something that activates life force, so y'all can't be always lame. Y'all too cool. We come from a sun culture. The sun don't chill. Y'all like that. This will be mental raw. Like operatic, come from the gut. That's what's wrong with you. That's why your rituals ain't working. Y'all too quiet with it. Ra is not a quiet deity. So Ra is the energy consciousness responsible for all life on earth. Isn't that worthy of complete devotion too? Because the life force is sacred. You don't want that thing to leave you, right? So we cultivate, we dedicate ourselves to cultivating to the Ra within. So now we're keying ourselves up for the summer solstice. So now I know for a fact, since Ohio, the women have been practicing something. Secret. It's like African society. They out in the grove right now. They've been practicing. So how many months is that? Like 4 months, right? And I know the brothers have been preparing something for at least 2 months. So that means the women are prepared to bring it. The men are prepared to bring it. And we have Rasura, the band. We know that they're going to bring it. So we have an all-out powerful event. So I'm imploring you to use your charisma, your influence, your charm to get your people to come out. Because we do it for ourselves first, but we trying to share with the rest of the community, right? We need to start showing the rest of the community that you can have substance and still have fun. You can still enjoy your community. What I see, or what you all probably see, is something that's borderline buffoonery and coonery going on with conscious folks. I don't know about y'all, but in the past 20-something years, I must have missed the memo. I must have missed the memo that black folks can't teach a message or receive a message unless it's wrapped up in entertainment. Did we miss the memo or something? Maybe we missed the other memo that said black folks can't teach a message or receive a message if it's not laden with profanity. Come on, listen. You got to speak to the people on their level. Y'all heard that, right? You got to speak to their people on there. Let's look at that. Y'all heard of Marcus Garvey, right? What year was that when he was around?
1920.
Before that, the 18th, coming into the 1913. Okay, so y'all heard Marcus Garvey speak before? He was a powerful speaker, right? He wasn't cooning and he wasn't taking the G's off the end of the word. All right, so that was down there 5 minutes out of slavery. 5 minutes from slavery, Marcus Garvey bringing that message. And the point I'm saying is, all of you now in this room and all the people in our society were more educated than the people he was speaking to. And yet they got the message. Let's fast forward a few years. Malcolm X. Wasn't he a competent speaker? He was an excellent orator. Malcolm X was converting pimps, prostitutes, hustlers, gangsters, drug dealers. All the people in this room in our society now were smarter than the people he was speaking to, and yet they got it. And here we are in 2019, we ain't getting it. If it ain't wrapped up in profanity, coonery, and buffoonery. We're not a dumb people. and we're not slow. So we have to find a way to entertain ourselves and stay culturally authentic without compromise. Because your culture decides the protocols on how you handle crises. I'll repeat, your culture establishes the protocol on how you handle crises. People translate culture as a way of life, but we say in here culture is survival strategies. So what is the culture in the Western Hemisphere? Racism. Hip hop. Hip hop has influenced almost every faction of society now. Everybody's rapping and got something with some hip hop beat in it. We're doing things that they think is imitating us, right? So how does hip hop teach you how to handle crises? Battle, one way.
Go hard.
They go hard. Pause. Numb yourselves down with sex and drugs so you don't have to think about what's uncomfortable. No judgment on hip hop. I love hip hop, and cultures could evolve. It could evolve into something better, but where it's at right now is not going to sustain us as a people. Do you think giving a child a water gun is appropriate? Let's look at it. Maybe we have to understand context. So if you give the child the water gun with no context, what if you give the child the water gun with context? You're like, okay, well, who you protecting, right? You protecting daddy? Protecting your mommy? Protecting your sister, your family, your tribe? You start making them think. Who are you protecting them from? What do they look like? You see, that's context. Because you don't give them the context they grew up, then you don't give them context. Go shoot your cousin. Oh, you got him in the head. Oh, he shot him right in the eye. So when you become a teenager, you still shooting at your cousins, your brothers and sisters in the community with no context because you wasn't clear on what you were protecting, who you were protecting, or who you were protecting from. We're preoccupied in finding all these programs for our children. What is the children's biggest secret desire is to be an adult. You're getting them Tonka toys, so they're dreaming about driving. So here we are saying, I need a program for my child. What else you got for my child? So it's like, you're supposed to be your first example for your child. The children learn through osmosis. You're supposed to be the hero. They're not necessarily supposed to be distracted with all these programs because all they want to do is be adults. So what are you as adults showing your child? And then when you get 30-something, now adults are trying to act like children. Everything always reversed. You want to be the old chick in the club with the makeup, trying to look like you're 18. And the children can't wait till they get their mustaches and beards and stuff like that. So, let's take it back to the top. About culture. Coming into the solstice is a very high energy time of the year for melanated folks. It is said that the earth in its tilt in relationship to the sun makes it hot. But what about the flat earth? I ain't gonna get into that, but that's a conversation that they're having. This means we're literally being fed by the sun. Melanin is stimulated, and melanin transduces light into usable forms of energy. That's the purpose of melanin, not to dance better, not to play sports. It helps with those things because it's an energy transmitter. It works like a quartz crystal. And if it transmutes or transduces light into usable forms of energy, that means it helps your organs work better. It helps your glands work better. And when your organs and glands are working better, it's easier to be organically, spiritually aware. That makes sense? That's what they're talking about when they say melanated folks are more spiritual. That's if the conditions are ideal within your body. So the whole season from March to June 21st is a holy season. What does holy mean again?
Pure.
Complete devotion season. So The meaning is it's a time to be completely devoted to cultivating the raw within. So melanated folks are primarily equatorial people. What does the equatorial mean?
Equator.
And what is the equator? Imaginary line in the center of the earth that's distant, equally distant from both poles that separate the northern hemisphere from the southern hemisphere. Melanated folks or indigenous folks mainly come from equatorial regions. Equatorial regions have optimum sunlight and has lush vegetation and wildlife. You can chill. There's not much stress in equatorial regions unless some type of catastrophe hits the planet. When we say maximum sunlight for the spiritually minded, for the spiritually minded, maximum sunlight means you start using the sun as a primary source of energy and nutrition for the body. So even in equatorial regions with maximum sunlight, you ain't even eating that much. That's hard for us to relate over here. We live in a society where it's supersized, buffet, all you can eat. You got people not wanting to pay attention to what they're putting in their mouths. They don't want to pay attention to what's coming out their mouths. They don't want to pay attention to the company that they keep. They don't want to pay attention to their behavior. So everything goes. So when you're spiritually minded and using light as a primary force of energy and nutrition, you have more of a fastidious lifestyle. What does fastidious mean? Conscientious. What's the root word? Fast. What does fast mean? Abstain. Okay, so if you're living in light or on light, you're fastidious. So if you're living in this supersized buffet society, being fastidious is balanced. It's not being extreme, it's balanced. So now if you're carnal minded, that means you're going to start depending on the vegetation and the wildlife. Carnal minded means everything is about eating. All the conversations about, oh, what you eating? Oh, you know that's bad for you. Oh, I gotta eat. It's been like 3 hours. I gotta eat. Or I'm getting weak. Everything is about eating, and it starts affecting the what's the word? Starts affecting the language, the dialogue. So everything is about eating. You're like, I gotta eat, right? I gotta feed my family. I gotta get that cake. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Right. Gold is 18 and 24 what? Carats. Diamonds is measured in? Carats. My bad. So remember back in the day they called money cabbage. So food gets equated, the lush vegetation gets equated with money, so money means I gotta eat. So, cheese, now they say chicken now, bread, cheddar, yeah, I got it. Gotta get that bread. Equatorial people didn't need to labor so hard because the environment was naturally abundant. So the only reason to leave the land was for resources. So if something happened and you needed a certain type of resource, that's why you traveled. You didn't just travel just to travel. Now check it out. So Europeans, they didn't come to Africa or the rest of the world to spread science, to spread their religion. They left because there was no resources in Europe in comparison to Africa. So they came to Africa because they were hungry. And there's nothing wrong with hunger. The only problem with hunger is when it turns into greed. Right. Hunger is natural, greed is the disease. Greed is like, I got my plate, you have your plate, because you have the scarcity mindset. I have the abundant mindset. Yeah, I'm gonna eat some more, I'm gonna be straight for tomorrow, the next day. The scarcity mindset coming from Europe is like, I don't know when the next time I'm gonna eat. I know I got a big plate of food, but now I'm scheming on your plate of food. And that right there is the core to the issue between us and white folks. They put themselves in a position that every time we have abundance, whether it's land, whether it's food, or even talent, they try to take it. We say, oh, you have land? What are you doing with the land? We be like, it's chilling, the land is taking care of us. They be like, can I show you what to do with the land? Further down the line is, the land is no longer yours because I got a contract. You have talent? What are you gonna do with that talent? Can I show you some things? I have some ideas of what I could do with that talent. I mean, you could do with your talent. Down the line, all the proceeds from your talent is mine because I got a contract. Once again, we have abundance. We live in abundance. We generate abundance, and yet other people are trying to own and copyright our abundance. Back to the solstice. Do you know what a mudra is? Nobody? A mudra. Hand gesture. It's a seal, mark, or a gesture. I don't know the Mennonite word for it. I would say heka. Heka, a lot of people think it just means words of power. It also means gestures of power, too. So word, thought, and deed go hand in hand. We can go with that, but I'm gonna rock with gesture. So usually with ritual, or what you call magic, comes a gesture, right? No one just, it's usually going, it's coming with some hand gesture, something like that. So it's a symbolic ritual gesture. You see it in Buddhism. You'll see the deities have their hands in certain postures, right? It's a spiritual gesture and an energetic seal of authenticity employed in iconography and spiritual practice. I'll repeat, it's a spiritual gesture and an energetic seal of authenticity employed in iconography and spiritual practice. So in the Kemetic tradition or the African tradition, this becomes a mudra. Y'all see that, right? We do this one. This is a mudra. This is a mudra. 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 This is one. This is one. Now, the problem is they mean different things through different cultures. And it's absolutely erroneous to think just because you understand what it means in one culture that it automatically means the same thing in another culture. We should know better than that. I see all types of memes online. You see the speaker and they could just be speaking in their hand going, and the next thing you know, oh, he's the secret society, he got this symbol of it. And you could be like, hey, and your hand comes, you're like, oh, he got the horn. He got the horn hand. So now, check it out. So this means something in the Illuminati, right? So just because it means that in the Illuminati doesn't mean it means that in football. They do this in football, right? Rock and rollers, you know, they be doing So is that all them Illuminati? Like, no. It means something different in different things. So this to a Mason means something totally different to us as a Kemite. So you can't be like, oh, he's a Mason. Like, no, I'm a Kemite. We know Masonry is inspired by Kemet, but even all the meanings doesn't translate over. They have their own meanings and stuff. So what about this? What's this transmit to you? As above. Anything else? One. Number one, right? But you do this to a Muslim, it represents the oneness of Allah. Tawheed. What about this? Peace. But you do this to a cultist is a sign of controlling and conjuring. You know? Hip hop mudra. What's this? No, this is East Coast. West Side. You see how you get shot? West Side, you're like, you're on the East Coast. So you see, like it means something different, and everybody has mudras. So what's the mudra for the summer solstice? You said you had a word for it?
Yeah, it's Aba.
Aba.
Present one's hands in ritual gesture.
ABA?
AB capital
A-B capital A, A-B-A. So what's it mean again?
It means to present one's hands in ritual gestures.
To present one's hands in ritual gestures. We got another lesson. So the mudra for the summer solstice is based off of the Aten disc. The Aten disc is the sun with the rays, right? And the so the mudra for us is this. You'll see it in the glyphs. Everybody raise their hand up. That's the mudra for the summer solstice. So it's two upraised arms, meaning the sun, Aten Ra, gives light to all things on earth. It's a form of respecting the sun, because the sun activates things. So you have your offering and you offer it up to get charged by the sun, and you bring it back, then you put it on the altar. So now, what are some foods for the solstice? Just to guess, see if y'all want.
Salad.
Just say salad. You can never go wrong with salad.
Solar foods like fruits, like oranges,
Solar
lemon,
food.
citrus, some small foods.
All right, let's go. Bananas, like, write it down. Because remember, the solstice is coming in 3 weeks. Y'all coming, right? Y'all can come empty-handed. What did he say? Bananas, oranges, mangoes, peaches, melanins. That was a Freudian slip. Nectarines, yellow squash. Apples, we could do apples. We could do any fruit, because all fruit come from the trees in the sun, but we're specifically talking about yellow fruits. Pineapples, we could do that. Tomatoes, lemons. We call them, or what's the brother name? Aris Latham calls it sunfire foods. So now if you do flesh, then the flesh has to be from the grill. We have to have grilled fire foods, not the oven. Talking about barbecue. If you're gonna do chicken, bring barbecue chicken, grilled fish. It has to be fired by the sun. Peppers, we could do peppers. You gotta balance it out too. So so all them fruits were cooling. Remember, it's supposed to be the balance. It could be like 100 degrees and y'all wanna eat cayenne pepper? So you gotta bring balance. So we need to bring balance in the season. So we need something cool to drink. What's a cool drink in the summer? Lemonade, mint lemonade. Huh? Limeade. Cucumber lemonade with mint in it. Coconut water. Infused water. Because remember, we're going to be dancing and chanting. The energy's going to be up. The band is going to be here. It's going to be hot in here, even with the air conditioning. So to bring balance, you don't want to burn yourself out. We don't want nobody fainting. So you're going to need to cool that thing down. So let's bring it all home. We have to get right with the Holy Spirit. Who and what is the Holy Spirit? Ra. What is holy again? Get that in your head. To be completely devoted to cultivating the Ra within. And who and what is Ra? I said it like several times throughout the course. What is it again? Say it again. Our Holy Spirit. Yeah, it's our Holy Spirit. Remember, it's the energy and the consciousness that's responsible for life on this planet as we know it, whose symbol is the Aten. So when you're in tune with that energy, you're full of energy. You're full of life. You should not utter that mantra, I'm tired. So if you're tired in the middle of the day, that means you're in violation. This is how you judge yourself. The only time you should be tired is before you go to bed, and that should be qualified that you used up all your energy. You should not be going to bed fully energized. That means you ain't finished your work. So being tired is a violation. So you should not be depressed. It should be impossible to be depressed if your body is infused with energy, if you've been cultivating the Ra within. You should not be discouraged. Oh, I don't like how I was spoken to, so I'm falling back. Oh, I'm depressed, I'm falling back. There should be no oversleeping. Sleeping is meant to charge you. There should be no lateness. Because if you have energy and your mind is sharp, you master your schedule. There should be no forgetfulness. You know, forgetfulness is a sign of poor health. You're like, huh, what'd you say? Like, did you know? Did you know forgetfulness is a sign of poor health? It means poor circulation. You need maximum circulation. A good memory is a good sign of good health. So you can't be like, I totally forgot communion was today. I totally forgot class was Friday. You're like, well, understood, I came to communion like 3 times in a row. I need you all times in a row. So if me and him had behaved like how some of y'all behave, there would be no communion. There would be no temple of Banu. They're like, oh man, we getting in trouble now. You can't run a temple or a nation with inconsistent and wavering participation. So when you're keyed into the Holy Spirit, you're full of energy and naturally magical. I want to read something I found in this book called Awakening Osiris. It's like a poetic rendition of the Persian Haru. Remember I said, if you're keyed into the Holy Spirit and you're naturally magical, remember magic, they say it's Heka. Heka, some people translate as words of power, but it's words and gestures of power. So I translate it as spiritual authority. For instance, Ma'akra performed Heka today. You know what I'm talking about? What she do?
She mentioned that she always brings that energy.
Nah. It was something like, that's a good thing, but it was something more basic than that. Remember she finished saying, she said, and then she said, Justin. He got up against his will. I didn't want to come up here and make freestyle, brother. And then got the brother freestyling and stuff like that because she knew the power of his name. She called his name, and in Metal Nature, when you know the name of something, you have a measure of control over it. The women know that better than anybody. Hey, baby. Baby. Yes. The way he says my name, I just couldn't say no. But you gave him all your money? Yeah, he said my name. So Hekau is spiritual authority. It says, do you know magic? Do you know spiritual authority? Can you utter the name of your soul and bring yourself back to life? That's powerful. I had to put the book down with that. Do you know the name of your soul? Or is it, can you utter the name of your soul and bring yourself back to life? Remember, there's power in the name. Now you see the significance in getting a new ring, a new name. Because the name is a part of your soul. So when you get a new name, your soul is being invoked. So your name means I master all life on the planet. So every time I call your name and that means something, you got to stand up and you got to be about that. But if your name just translates in English as bald, like there's no power in that. Like if your name is Calvin, the name Calvin means bald. So you're like, there's no power in that. You can't be empowered when somebody calls you that. But when you got like Jehuti must, Raw Sanku, such and such, like, oh, I gotta stand up. It says, can you speak your destiny, create life for yourself, from yourself as Tamu created Ra? Go back to that. Can you speak your destiny? Create life for yourself, from yourself. So if you're a son and daughter of the Creator, then you can be able to create life from yourself for you. From the light of your works, do you know who you are? I can't tell you who you are. From the light of your works, do you know who you are? The decisions that you make in life, have they put you in a position of power or disempowerment? And that's going to determine if you know who you are. So if you look at the positions and you're not empowered, then you wouldn't consciously put yourself in a position where you're not empowered. So if you are in that position, then maybe you don't really know yourself as well as you thought you did. You need to go deeper with your meditations. So we often have conversations about growing as a temple. I'm gonna give my last word on that because it's annoying to me. Remember I said no empty seats, no half, what's the word? No half empty room. We have a charge, but yet I have to sit here. I'm in leadership position. I sit and listen to people on what y'all say is important and what it is that y'all want to do. But I can only take y'all as far as you allow yourself to be led, right? So if you're not willing to match the consistency and dedication of the leadership you see in here, then all the talk is for nothing. Throwing money in the direction is cool, but at the end of the day, we need people, because people is the greatest resource of a nation, not money, or people with money. But at the end of the day, we need people to do the work, not money. Or else you're just unfairly creating more work for others. Right? So if we're sitting around talking about ideas about what we should and what we could do as a people, but you're not showing up to work, that means you're burdening the handful that's actually doing the work. And so when monumental feats are not being accomplished, then you want to ask, what are we doing for the community, or what happened to the money? I'm not up here giving my opinion of it. I'm just regurgitating something that our ancestors had to do. Our ancestors had to deal with the same thing. So feel bad, but don't feel bad. We are our ancestors, right? So it's my job to continue to try to figure out a way to motivate y'all to do what it is that y'all say we need to do. Do what it is that you know already needs to be done. So I'm gonna go to the ancestors on this, because I don't want to just come up here and give my opinions. This is what they say, Ptah. It says, if you never do the work that needs doing, then the field will never get plowed. Isn't that just what I said? In the form and the sayings of the ancestors. If you never do the work that needs doing, then the field will never get plowed. So it's saying, don't just talk your talk. You can't just dream. You're gonna have to live yourself into the dream. Or else you just watching other people live themselves into their dream. For many will talk in empty fields. That's powerful, just soaking that. Many will talk in empty fields. How many people know people that's talking in empty fields now? It might even be yourself. Remember, anytime we come here, this is conversations out loud that we're having to ourselves. It's not pointed towards anybody in the room, but it's pointed to everybody in the room, even myself. Conversations out loud. For many will talk in empty fields, while those who silently cast their plow to work have fruits to harvest. Those who silently cast. So if you got people that talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Those that walk the walk are just silent. We carry one say, real bad boys move in silence. You keep secret. The more you talk about what you got to do or what you're going to do, you leak the secret out. It says silently cast their plow means put in their work in silence and they have fruits to harvest. So now you sitting around like, yo, how you do that? It's a 25-year overnight success story. Y'all heard that before, right? Because you were moving in silence, so all people are seeing is the end product of all your work. So to them, it's looking like magic. It ain't magic in the way they're seeing magic. You were just doing the work and you were unbothered by the process. And persistent. You weren't complaining. Some of our people, we do the work, but we're complaining the whole step of the way. It's so, why it's gotta be so hard? Why I gotta be at 3 o'clock? This is what we do. And it says, stay clear of the talkers. Judge deeds. Stay clear of the talkers, judge deeds, meaning it's even hard to respect someone who talks good but have no works to show it. What's the result of your thought process? Stay clear of the talkers, judge deeds, honor work. Appreciate effort. So respect means to look again. So when I'm checking you out, I'm measuring, are your actions measuring up to your words, then I can respect you. But if you're just talking good and there's no outcome, then I can't honor your work because you have no work. So it says appreciate effort. Now the word for appreciate in Middle Nenter is what? Dua. So when we pray at 12 o'clock, we're appreciating Ra. We're appreciating the Holy Spirit. We're appreciating that light, right? By cultivating it. We're appreciating the effort. So it's saying appreciate or praise the effort. So when you see somebody with their actions match their mouth, then you're supposed to get behind it and support it. Here's it says, appreciate effort, precision, and perfection. So that goes back to Iker. It's talking about being competent, being well equipped. So appreciate effort, precision, and perfection. Now end it with this. I said showing up is only half the job. Some people be patting themselves on the back. I showed up though. Showing up is only half the job. You have to show up your best self and put forth your best effort. So when we could get on that accord, then we could start accomplishing some of the things that we all be talking about. Got it? All right, let's stand up and close out. That's it for. Elders right over left, sisters left over right. Dianu, Uncle Johnsonet.
Dianu, Uncle Johnsonet.
Bring it in, back into the chest. Count of 3, ground out with the right foot. 1, 2, 3.